Ayo. Welcome to Benchwarmers, a Woso podcast, episode 30, part 2, where we cover the rest of the world. You've just come from England and European competitions, and now we are going to Vamos, to Spain, to the Liga F. Look, I mean, we started the podcast nearly the same way we started the last one. We have another El Classico where Real Madrid got battered after the 6-2 in the Champions League. This was, this was just mental. I don't know really what to say about this game other than the things that we all know. Except it's just different personnel each time, and you think to yourself, which Barcelona player they're going to spin the wheel, and who's going to land on this game? And this game, it was Ona Battier who had a deflected shot from the edge of the box. Honestly, they don't even need luck. Why are they getting lucky shots going as well? But the celebration as well, the Ona Battier celebration was cold. Like that, I do love Ona. I think she is, I don't know why I do. I shouldn't, because she's ex-United and United just runs in her blood. But my God, she is just so likable and just, plays football the way you want it to be played. And the second half, Donovan's kept it going. Alexia made it 2-0 because, I mean, how did they give... you're giving Caro that much space. I know you're not giving it. They're facilitating that space for her. But that's just don't let Caro run parallel to the goal line. It's just not a good idea. And then the third goal was that own goal, which was all very sad, if I may quote my podcast host, who does say things are very, very sad sometimes. And it was Misa and Lacroix having a really bad moment between each other. But this made sure in the Liga F that Barca are 13 points ahead of Real Madrid in the league. Madrid are 5 points ahead of Sociedad with 5 games to go, which, I mean, look, Sociedad could have been a lot closer this week, but they did fluff it. We will get to that game. But is there anything you want to say about this particular rendition of the El Clasico?
Everything I said in the first part of the podcast, I reiterate.
Times two.
I got to give a shout out to Perry because I think that coming back and starting for 70 minutes, I mean, she's had a few starts now. She didn't get GA this game, but I think that we've finally solidified a spot for Perry on the park. I think that her essentially then cutting in on the right channels, her and Shirton, I don't know. I think that could be a really good second Barcelona side connection that they could have. I think equally on the that was on the left hand side.
Where would you
on
want
the right hand
Sydney?
side? Well, I think Sydney Shirton is as a left sided either midfielder or winger, because I don't see her centrally. I think that you have to exploit the fact that she is a runner, and I think she really reminds me of someone like Eula Brand in terms of being able to size up her defender and seeing their weakness, whether that be getting a ball in behind or taking them on 1v1. She is a player for Barcelona's future in the same way that Vicky is. They're just two different players, and I think Shirton will offer something different, especially having someone like Esme Brutes behind her. I mean, the quality of having someone running off of your shoulder to slip a ball in behind, knowing that you can equally cover because she has played fullback before, is an asset.
Well, I mean, Vicky Lopez is definitely solidified as a central player now, especially after the second leg of the quarterfinal. She's the youngest player in the park, and she was running the game, which is insane, Yamal-esque in so many ways. But I think the answer to this question isn't as simple as Sydney Shirton-Leib being just a winger or a flank player. I think Sydney Shirton-Leib can be whatever she wants, and then Per Romeu has the job of moulding it to what he wants her to be. I think her size in the midfield would be incredibly dangerous if he could hone her craft, because obviously you'd want Vicky to be the 10. I think you'd want Vicky to be the advanced player, but obviously Barcelona plays so far forward. If they could make Sydney the 8, a tall, crafty 8, long-limbed 8 that can stick her leg in, take a challenge really well, but also do her own challenges and start her own attacks, I think Sydney Shirton-Leib could be the... Look, we're not talking about APA replacements right now, but we're talking about what is the future beyond APA. And right now in my head, the way I see it is Clara Serra-Jordi, Sydney Shirton-Leib and Vicky Lopez in that middle. And I think it's Kika on either the left or right, inverting inside, and when Paior goes, it will be Paruello, or they'll sign some other. It'll be Carla Julia up front, probably, which will just drive me nuts because Carla Julia is too good to be at Barcelona. I actually think she should be in her own team, just team Carla Julia, and she can just do it herself. And I want to see how good she really is. But my God, and I didn't even mention Pina in this whole thing. Like it's an insane mob of players. We do it every week, but I would love to see Sydney Schertenlieb wherever she wants to play. And I think for Switzerland, I think it would be more interesting if she plays in the centre of the park. Specifically, probably in the 9. I actually think they need a 9, Switzerland. Like, I think Reuteler can be in the 10. I think Benet can be on the right. And I think they have Valti. Like, they don't need that midfielder that much. But whether she can be that support in a myriad of positions, however you can support Romeo, I mean, he'd be happy with, and I think Sydney is there to stay. She's definitely, I mean, she was already voted the best young team to come and watch us. Like, we all knew she was going to be like amazing. She was already amazing at the Euros, to be honest. I mean, Switzerland were just amazing to watch at their own Euros, and that's why. But I think they've just got an amazing team, and I'm so excited to develop in the way they want, and that's what Barcelona does best. They don't shoehorn players in. Oh, they're a left winger at 19 years old. Who cares? We're going to move you around. We're going to make you what you're supposed to be. But no matter what, you'll be 13 points ahead of Real Madrid no matter what. No matter who they are, the names won't change. The names will change, but the streets definitely will stay the same until Real Madrid end up with a little bit more investment. Atletico Madrid did get their win over Athletic Bilbao. Bilbao, I mean, I don't know if this is an athletic derby. As a kid, I always thought this is a derby. But also, the stadium was kind of packed at Bilbao. It was kind of vibing a lot. But we are cursing a few players. Also, players are cursing me. I feel like they're taking our awards ceremony a bit unseriously because I gave Oterman super sub of the week last week, and she's gone from hero to zero with a red card, 2 yellows. The second one, she's literally hacked her on the ground. Like, even in futsal, that's a red card. Like, that's a horrendous challenge. But I did say Penalvo would be a good cog for Atletico Madrid, and she did score. So, look, it evens out. I feel like that's usually what Atletico Madrid do. They even out and they disappoint, and that's what they've been doing for a while. But Bilbao's 39th minute goal from Novardo. I mean, love the crowd, love the celebration, it was amazing. This is everything, like, anyone who wants to watch an encapsulation of Atletico Madrid defending when it actually matters, it's this cross, the marking, the scanning, the scouting, and the defending of this goal is embarrassing. Like, it was a cross that I think it bounced twice. I think the ball bounced twice. A ball should never be allowed to bounce twice, even at, like, NPL level. It would never happen. Like, that should never happen at this level. But it says nothing really about Bilbao. It's just a terrible goal to concede. But you're lucky you have Fiamma Benitez. Individual brilliance wins over as she chips Nan Clares really nicely in a very nice ball that was played to her. But yeah, as much as the Estadio San Mames was beautiful, there was a late penalty shout call for Medina, but VAR said no, and then Gallardo saved the last header, and it moves them into the top 5. I can't believe we're saying that. Moves them into the top 5, 4 points behind Tenerife. Tenerife, who are eyeing up Sociedad right now because Tenerife won 2-0 against Madrid CFF. I don't know if anyone's been looking at one of the Tenerife players, Paula Fernandez. I mean, the Paula Fernandez of this team. So Paula Fernandez is my GOAT from Sociedad. But Natalia Ramos has scored a brace in this game. She has 8 goals and 4 assists for this season. She has 8 man of the match, player of the match performances for UD Tenerife, and they only sit 6 points behind Sociedad with 5 games to go, because Sociedad dropped points late on in that game against Logrono. We had the moment where who was it? Mia Asenio was the Dominican super sub, got a lofted ball from Margarita Jimenez. She bodied Lucia Rodriguez to the floor and then slotted it past the keeper. And it basically tied up the game after the own goal from Rebecca Da Silva, which proves that Sociedad are gettable. And Logrono proved that they were gettable on the counter. It was the second half. I mean, the first half, Sociedad was 7-0. And in the second half, it was 6-5. So they definitely like utilized their counter-attacking. They were more audacious in their creative attacking balls forward. And this is how you go up against better, higher possession opposition than you. And they forced the intensity and they played the speed with the ball. And there was a VAR check on Logrono's keeper because of Cecilia Marcos trying to go around the keeper and got chopped. But I think she gets the ball. I think it's actually a really good challenge from the keeper. She ended up with player of the match for this game. But because of that draw, we have a moment where we think to ourselves, we've been saying Sociedad third, but Tenerife are not that far behind.
I think that one of the things that has meant that Real Madrid have stayed second for so long is because other teams have not capitalized on the fact that when Real Madrid play Barcelona, you need to beat your game.
Just win. Just win.
Like, you need to beat your team. They are going to lose to Barcelona 99% of the time. They are going to lose to Barcelona. If you want to catch up, if you want to challenge yourself in that second space, then you actually need to beat your opposition. To be honest with you, Real Sociedad haven't had a good few weeks. They obviously lost to Real Madrid. That's not going to help any chances of them getting second.
Imagine they drew that game and then won this one. Oh my God.
They had a 1-0 win against Levante last week, which was nothing spectacular. They obviously drew this game against Logrono. Like, this is not a team that is really, I think, built for that whole 28-game season. And that's fine, because this is the first time we're really seeing Real Sociedad put up any chance of getting to second, let alone making Champions League football. But this is where the investment has to come in. We talked about it last week, the week before. Like, Real Sociedad have to take up the mantle from Atletico Madrid next season, particularly, as being the destination club, the club that wants Champions League football, let alone European football.
Yeah, but there's 5 weeks to go, and there's always a chance of a bottle. There's always a chance of a moment where it just gets too close and you get in your head, and they just need to rely on their individual brilliance. I mean, it's hard to say that because it's Paula Fernandez. It can't be all on her. It can't be all on Pardo. It can't be all on a 17-year-old left back. But it's the collective team. It's the beauty, the sanctity of their football. And I believe, I truly do believe in them over Tenerife or Sevilla, who've just lost and are now out of the top 4 because they lost their game. I forgot who it was against. I think it was Granada. Granada's gotten a little bit closer to them as well. But look, we've been shilling Sociedad all year. We do think that they are the real deal. They do have the ability to secure this Champions League allocation, and we just have to believe that Arturo Ruiz can pull his team together and be able to deliver the goods. But that is all we have for the Liga F as we move to the Bunds. And the Bunds is getting a little bit boring, I'll be honest, because it gets the same every week, to be honest. And also, the games where teams do fall, it doesn't really have the ramifications because they've set up the platforms and the frameworks where there are no ramifications for this. So if Bayern loses 8-0, it's not like, oh, they're going to bottle. They're so far ahead, and they also never bottle. But then VFL bottled this week, and it doesn't matter because no one's close enough to them to even for it to
Frankfurt.
matter.
I give a bit of hope to Frankfurt. They're now out of
I know
Europa
you give
League.
hope to Frankfurt, and I do love a bit of legacy ball from Frankfurt ultimately. and I mean, so long as the Racinator is there, we will shill Frankfurt. But look, they're actually a game ahead, right? So Frankfurt are a game ahead. So they're 9 points behind VFL and about 20 behind Bayern. So it is a bit different, but we'll go one at a time. Bayern beat Nuremberg, and 2 of my favorite players at Bayern are getting the goals in Imade. Imade had so many. Imade could have had a double hat trick in this game, probably 3 headers and then a strike as well. But she ends up with a header in what was, I believe, the 46th minute, 46, like straight after the halftime whistle, and then later on in the 79th minute, despite what FOTMob might tell you, saying it's like in the 50th minute, it is wrong. It's the 79th minute, we get another goal for my favorite streamer, Padilla. Like, it is just, I'm loving the Bayern moments. I can't wait till Padilla's on stream going, wow, Lena, I had a better 25, 26 than you, actually. Because you know what? She's having a better month than most Bayern players at the moment. She's had 3 goals in 3 games, and she's just popping up in places where she needs to be and doing the stuff. And I think Bayern were a bit sluggish in this game, but also makes sense because they played a second squad. They literally didn't play any of the squad from the United game, and that's the luxury that Bayern have. They are a solidified squad. It isn't just an 11 of masters. It's a solidified squad where you have the luxury to use what I would consider Spain's number one striker in the world as your second striker, because that's how good they are. And yes, you have Gwyn on for the hour and Tanikawa on for the hour, and they were just good enough. They were just doing the business, and their form in the league is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, Bayern are going to win this league very easily, and any performance that they show up on their second team is more about like how do you watch them? What's the next generation going to look like? How are they going to adapt their play? I don't see, and maybe this is a bit presumptive of me. I think that this is a dynasty for Bayern. I don't see this is going to be their third or fourth in a row league.
I don't think it's presumptuous at all.
I think that they're going to win it. I think that this next whole 2020s is going to be Bayern. Like I don't see VfL catching up. I don't think Frankfurt will offer any semblance of title challenge. I think the rest of the teams will be fighting it out for European football. And I also think, to be honest with you, the German Federation will be very much relying on Bayern to continue this form because they want more spots in European competitions. So as the Europa League opens up, as we inevitably get a Conference League, the more German teams in there, the more likely that they're going to win tournaments. Now, Frankfurt did not get to the final of the Europa League, but that's because Frankfurt have not been very good in Europe, as we saw from the first week of this podcast. But Bayern are going to win, as I said, going to win this league. They are going to be the best team in Germany, if not the best team in Europe, potentially.
Do you think it'll be invincible?
Yeah. I mean, yes. I think, again, this is much like the VFL times. It might even be a bit of a bad thing in Germany's perspective that they had two giants for the last decade where football, women's football specifically, has grown so much so that German model of football has not actually worked for this new era of football. Like we're not going full steam ahead, long balls, crossing it in, finding a player. Bayern have been able to adapt. And Bayern have been able to evolve. The introduction of Imade, for example, is I think genius to a growing and adapting team, because she's different. She might not be necessarily different to the German model, but she has a Spanish blood in her. She's a techie baller. I mean, look at Padilla. You talked about Padilla. Like she's a good footballer, not necessarily someone who I'd expect to play for Bayern Munich, but she's grown because Bayern also equally give opportunities to players where other teams aren't allowed to because they have to fight every week.
And Barcalos trusts her. She has the ability to nick goals, get in the right places. The intuition is hard to teach. That's probably the hardest part of football. But there is one thing the culling of VFL was what probably got them in the early 2020s. And I do think to myself, is Bayern susceptible to this? Are their players too good? And I think about the next year will be a Georgia Stanway-less Bayern. Sure. Next year, potentially, depending on what happens, could be a Clara Bull-less Bayern. Like, we don't really know how good their players are to the extent... we know how good they are, but we don't know how good they are to everyone else to the extent where they start cupping them from them.
Well, you lose Georgia Stanway, you gain Lena Oberdorf back from injury. Like that's
but you can't have all your eggs in the... We can't do this every season where we put all the eggs in the Lena Oberdorf basket, because I love Lena Oberdorf, but there's no way that if they get rid of Stanway, they're not going to sign a replacement. And in my head, we'll get to who I think the replacement will be in the French league, because she's a baller, and I think it is Lamogadec. But I don't know if there are shoes that Georgia Stanway has that can't be like fitted in anymore. It's not a player you can just replace, but they need to be able to facilitate their midfield strong enough to compete with the Barcelonas of the world. It's not actually about the league anymore for Bayern. The league is the C+. Like if they win the league and they win the domestic treble, that's B+ at this point. It's no longer an A anymore, because they're expected... Well, they're not expected to win it, but they are kind of expected to win it. And I think they are expected to go one further in the Champions League. And it can't just always be the same hurdle. It can't just always be, you're this good and then you submit to Lyon or you submit to Barca. You need to take that next step to prove that you are the real deal. And I hope that we don't get another 7-1 against Barca. I hope we see a different side, and we have a lot of time. I think Clara Bull will be back for this game. And if she is, I expect a very different result.
Yeah.
And but I expected a bit more hostility from their rivals, but their rivals are losing in in the Champions League, and in the Bundesliga they're holding draws against Union Berlin. Shout out to all the unionists out there. But VfL Wolfsburg, I mean, this game was just. I mean, they tried the second squad tactic, but it's just not the same.
No.
You don't have the same depth,
No.
and you copped weird goals. You copped a really bad goal, Stina Johannes, and you copped a really bad red card as well.
Yeah.
That really could have. I swear she just decapitated her, like completely took her out. Like the edge of the box volley from Janina Minga was amazing, and then also. Guro Bergsvan getting the ball stripped off her. Last week I say Guro Bergsvan's going to be a big part of it. Like they're taking it personally. Like I'm trying to be like they're trying to make my takes worse, and I'm not happy about this because I rate Guro Bergsvan. She's a Brighton legend, but I think going into the dressing rooms at 1-1 is just. I mean, it's a bit sour taste, and you kind of thought they'd go out in 3-1, but Union Berlin just made it their own. Tempo. That there was not one point in this game where I thought VfL took control, and Kuva's own goaling and then scoring goals to make up for her own goals. There was just so much chaos in this game. The Olympico was crap. It's one of those shitty Olympico Palvole
You
goals.
don't even call them Olympico.
No, they're not. It's not an Olympico. It's a quote-unquote Olympico where it goes round. If it bounces, it's not an Olympico.
It definitely is. It's not like a freaking half Olympico, like a half volley.
It's a half Olympico. It's an Olymp. It's an Olymp in the goal. That's what it is. An Olymp in the goal. But Kuva did pull one back, and then there was the other goal, which was late on. It was what's her name? Carlos Bujols. Carlos Bujol. That's what I see. She scored in added time to equalise. A 3-3 game. Relying on an ex-Barcelona player for VfL to win is always ironic. But this 3-3 kind of just sums up their season and how and why they've been so far away from Bayern.
We talked about it in the first part. What is Wolfsburg's second team? What is their benches? What are they looking like in depth? And we realized
Zakai and Bus.
We realized that that's pretty much it. I mean, like it's funny to think that. I mean, I rate Bernstein. I don't rate her as like the type of striker that a world-class team would have. I honestly, if you would chuck her in the WSL, she'd be playing. In all honesty, she'd be playing for like Aston Villa, really.
Yeah, Villa would. Hansen and Bierenstein would go hard
because she's hot and cold. She's like
also Wilms, the Dutch link up. Oh,
yeah, exactly, incredible. But that is not the type of player that I would be looking at in a world class position. And then to back her up is Zakai, which she's fine. She's just like young.
She's young. Yeah, same as Smilla Volodov. She will have moments. Janu Levels is going to get there. She will have her moments. Like it is a young team, and that's what is exciting is that they are going to cull the Pops, and eventually Huth will go, and it'll be a huge loss.
Without Huth, they wouldn't have
won this game. They would have lost this game. But what I mean is that there is an opportunity to grow into something else. Like they can't just be relying on a 35-year-old still, and they are right now, and that's the problem. But I expect VfL to get to a point where they're not relying on 35-year-olds, and they have some young Germans that come in, and like I'm excited. I'm excited for the young crop of Germans to come through. I would be looking at Cerci. I think stop her from going to the WSL, bring in German products to make your team better.
Was that move on? Was that what I heard on Twitter?
I think the move was. I think her moves have just been halted. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, even like Anyomi. I mean, we'll get to Frankfurt now, who managed to come back from behind. They were 1-0 down, I believe, and they ended up going 2 goals up because of Chiba and was it Laura Freigang?
Yeah,
I believe. Laura Freigang doing her job, and I mean that's more the important thing when they're going away to FC Köln, and I believe it was Martina Hegering who ended up with the goal for Köln, which is hilarious because I mean she's still doing the business at 35 years old. But Frankfurt, it's more important to talk about the fact that they've just been absolutely knocked out of the cup that no one actually knows exists, the UEFA Women's Europa Cup. The semi-finals are going to be a Sweden derby between Häcken and Hammarby because despite an Anyomi goal in the second leg and a Frankfurt red card, ultimately they weren't good enough, and Hacken absolutely schmized them at their own home ground between Felicia Schroeder, who I think we all know is going to be a striker that gets chapped by one of these four teams up here. Let's be honest, Stina replacement, they need a better striker that's Nordic. They already have a few strikers, and you know what? I could definitely see her here. I genuinely could see Schroeder at Barca because they will take any young striker that they can. But I just think Frankfurt are leaving a lot to be desired, and I know they are third, and they are technically still in the race for that second spot, and they will go to Champions League qualifications again, and we might be in the same position as last year when we did our season 2, episode 1 of the Benchwarmers. Frankfurt fail again, and they miss out on Champions League. But we will find out soon enough. But shout out to Frankfurt for keeping their league form up, keeping themselves away from Hoffenheim, who did get a win over Freiburg. I believe they were more than good enough in this game. Hoffenheim, as they ended up, was it a 2-0 win? 2-1 win?
2-1 win.
2-1 over Freiburg, who have had a little bit of a stamp on their form in the last 2-3 months compared to I think their turn of the year was much worse than their 2025. But they were able to do it without Cerci. I think the five at the back held up stronger. I think Loria Hanadic had some jobs to do, and she was fantastic in goal. But it was Lisa Kerb and Marie Steiner who got player of the match, scored the second. Fantastic stuff. They are 4 points off Frankfurt. I still think they will end up in fourth because Bremen beat Essen, but no Mulhaus goal. But it means that Fudalla and Pernilla Harder are at the top of the Frauen Bunds scorers list on 14 goals. I think, does Harder get there in the end? Probably. But also, every time Leverkusen score, it's usually Fudalla. And I mean, this week we didn't really go over this game, but it was a 3-1 win to Hamburg where Fudalla did get a goal. So she is scoring pretty much week in, week out, Fudalla. So it depends on what happens in each game. But I think Harder probably should get there, maybe to closer to 20 goals would be pretty impressive.
I think if it were a fair league, then Harder would get it based on the fact that she is arguably one of the best strikers in the league. But I also kind of like this thing that the Bunds has, where they have these ballers playing from maybe top 4, top 5, top 6 teams getting the golden boot. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, Cerci, Freigang, all these players are in contention. This year it's Fudalla. I don't know. I think it's awesome. It also puts these players on the map where they probably wouldn't be because, no offense, unfortunately because of the landscape that we're in right now in women's football, no one is watching these teams to be recruiting these ballers. Yeah,
and we'll get there. It will take its time, but I mean, there was good stadium presence in the Hoffenheim game. The bits I saw of the VfL game were absolute chaos in Union Berlin as well. But we will end our talk about the Bunds there and move to Italy, not the Femminile, but the 2 second legs of the Coppa Italia semi-final, where Leggy gets to win the spoils of her praises one more time. Inter failing again against Roma. A 2-1 loss in the second leg to go down 2-3 on aggregate. This, in my head, kills off the league. I think there's no chance you win the league after losing the cup here. But Inter's 16 shots, 5 on target to Roma's 10 on 4. Wasteful attacking. Makes sense, though. No Tessa Vallert. Why is Tessa Vallert not playing? No injury knowledge. There is not one thing about Tessa Vallert that has come out other than the fact that they said she's not playing. Explain yourself, or Supremo L. You're not playing your best player in probably your only big game left in the season after you've just lost half a game from Buhaga and you had Detroit and Polly on the scene. There's no way you were going to win this game, and you're not going to win this game when you're letting Dragoni absolutely run the show, play the ball back to Manu, who absolutely pearls the ball into the top right corner, because that's the last player you want on the edge of the box, arguably in Europe. I just think she's one of the best players from that 18 to 24 yard range. And Shout out to Roma's backup bloody goalkeeper, because I thought it was Baldi was the main goalie.
No.
But Lukusova making ridiculous saves. Magul probably should have scored in this game. The Magul ends up playing in Buhega one-on-one, and Lukusova saves it, and then the deflection goes on to Thorgerson, and then Thorgerson hits the post. Like, there was just, like, this was like the most torturous take I've ever made about Inter, and Inter are crucifying me for it, because Dragoni snatched the ball from Ivana Andres and runs the whole field, plays it to Veens, and Dragoni ends up with a brace of assists where she's basically given players goals because she's that good. And no amount of amazing free kick from Wilhelmsdottir is going to change the fact that it was a bit too little too late for Inter Milan. A nice token to take home from Wilhelmsdottir, because it's probably goal of the week. Like, I know the siren goal, the Minga goal was amazing, but this free kick is absolutely sublime. But they held on. They are in a final. They are en route for a double. We are talking about Winnie Heatley winning a double. This is the world we live in. We have Ivy Lewick going for a Europa Cup final, and Winnie Heatley going for a double in Europe. And they say Football Australia. No, it's us. We say Football Australia is a failure because they only get this presence in Europe. That's why. But Juve are their opposition in this final, Roma, because they beat Fiorentina 2-1 in this second leg, 4-1 on aggregate. Too easy. It's expected. Juve are going for the domestic cup double right now. They had a few shaky moments at the start. Yanogi probably should have scored that first goal. If she scored that, the whole tie completely changes, in my opinion. And you have a 2-1, you have a chase. I think Juve get a bit nervous and shaky when they cop a goal early, but it didn't take long after for who I consider. You were talking about Smilla Holmberg being the signing of the mid-season, the winter, but I think it is this girl, Anna Capetta, who this near post strike, she made it look so easy. And I saw her score a near post strike about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where it was like 6 yards away from the keeper, and she did it. This was from edge of the box, and she's hit it near post and in. She's done it again, and it's like ridiculous strike. I did not think she had that in her locker at all, and she's just been this amazing Girelli replacement. I can't believe I'm saying that, but 5 goals, 2 assists in 8 games so far this season. This year, because she did have 2 games at the start, near the end of 2025, but then she got injured. She's come back in February, and she's had an amazing 8 games. Finkerstrand made a few amazing saves. It was 26 shots, 12 on target from Juve to 16 shots, 4 on target for the Firenze, but Van der Sanden did her job. She clears a Carbonell shot off the line, but then Capetta headers near post through traffic. I don't know how this goal goes in. Capetta is just in some serious luck of form. You know when everything you touch just gets this feeling, and every time we kiss, we swear we can fly. But my God, Anna Capetta is on, and she wants you to know that Juve is on her side. But Firenze do score a rebound goal with Omarsdottir in the 63rd minute, but it just wasn't enough, and Juve are through. Juve v Roma in the final. I am locked in for this Coppa Italia. Can Juve conjure up the spectral spirit of Girelli and get the domestic double here?
Well, I mean, it is a Benchwarmers derby, because if you
it is a huge benchmark. To be fair, I'm ABR. I'm anyone but Roma, to be honest. Shout out, like, one of my best friends from Italy is a diehard Roma fan, so he would hate me for saying this, but I am sick of how good Roma has been this season.
I mean, I feel like a bit of a fraud, because I mean, my family lives nowhere near Roma. I feel disgusted saying that I am going.
See, you have stakes. You have no right.
This is like an English fan who like lives in like Brighton going for Arsenal. It just makes no sense to me.
Theo Baker.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I do think Roma do just have a bit more. I think they have better players. I think they have better attacking style of football. I actually think it'll be a game of defense, and I think that
1-0. It's 1-0 football, baby.
I think it's either 1-0 or 2-1, because like, look, Juventus have shown this season to be incredibly poor defensively, but they know how to win cups. They know how to win trophies. So it's
tournament football. They weren't bad. They weren't bad against Juve. They weren't bad against VfL. They weren't bad against Lyon.
No, and I think that it's a game of heritage and prestige versus a game of like quality, which I think Roma has, and I think Juve have the pedigree. But look, I'm backing Roma obviously because I can't back down now. But
even if I wanted to,
even if like, I don't know, the spirit of like, I don't know, my ancestors from Italy come and haunt me for saying this, I just do think that Roma are the best team in Italy right now.
Yeah, we're going for the old lady. I want Anna Capetta to channel her inner Girelli. I will get a Capetta 10 top if she scores a hat trick in this final. I mean,
I can't.
I'm not
I can't
asking
get
for
any
much.
Italy top that isn't
Yeah.
like of my hometown though. So
That's
like
fair.
I will
I feel like
I'll
that's a
get, like,
crime. I would
tap
have to get it. I'd have to get it. We'll chat to some friends upstairs and we'll sort it out for you. But that is all we have for Calcio Ball as we move to the Arkema. An interesting week in the Arkema. Crazy that I'm saying this. Yeah, I know,
exactly.
it's ridiculous. I'm saying Frauen Bunds is boring and Arkema is amazing. But Lyon drawing to Strasbourg. What is happening? What is going on? Despite 26 shots, 11 on target to 3 shots, 2 on target. They were looking to bounce back after the loss, the VFL loss. But I mean, look, the shots that Lyon were taking were absolutely horrendous, and that's probably namely because of the personnel they had on the park.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it does sum up the personnel of where they shoot from. But shout out to some of the Strasbourg ballers that I'm going to name right now. But we had a set piece from Hanneken, who I've now dubbed Hanneken Skywalker, who whipped it to Bruna Lorenzo, who took the lead after 20 minutes. This is a beautiful ball. It's kind of a shimmied shot. I think she thought it was going up in the air, Belhaj, but it just went on the floor and rolled under her. It was delicious. It was fantastic. But Corbin Schrader equalised about 5 minutes later. It was a very good cross from Vicky Besho that was taken. The runoff was taken from Svava, who plays it back to Schrader, who thumps it to tie the game up. And then, other than a Marie Antoinette Cotodo header cleared off the line by one of our goats in European football, Anna Maria Senegorcevic, one of the Swiss legends, former Barcelona player.
Don't even get me started on Senegorcevic.
Just absolute legend, AMC. Shout out to AMC. I didn't even know she was balling out in Strasbourg, to be honest. But second half, look, Cotodo, Schrader, Tarsian, Marie Antoinette, let them eat shots. My God, all these shots were dealt with. Yul Lebrun, Ben Yaya, fraud watch. Shoot the bloody ball. It's absolutely insane. They're dawdling around the 18-yard box like I'm watching Prime Formidable's Pep trying to break down like Everton's back five where they're just going pass around and around and around. Just shoot. Yul Lebrun, pretend you're in a Germany top and shoot. That's what we want to see.
Underneath.
Yeah, seriously. Wearing as an undershirt, the long sleeve, they go hard, to be fair. I wonder if they get, the Arkema would have an issue with it, as if the Arkema have like some federation against an undershirt. But it was Ireland's Amber Barrett that took the lead for Strasbourg. A long ball from the keeper. Pinto heads it on to Barrett, and then Barrett outside the foots it with her right foot under Belhaj to take the lead in the 76, and Lily Johannes, who's making a habit of scoring deflected long shots, ends up scoring one in the 82nd minute, and they attempt to go for the win, but sadly these shots were terrible, and the only good shot, other than a botched Nelhaj header that she really should have done better with, was Mesa Fatala, who I actually didn't know who this was, but she's 16 years old, taking pings from 30 yards that are being forced over the bar. I'm thinking to myself, Strasbourg have won. Even if they lose this game, morally they've won this game. You have a 16-year-old pinging pot shots from 30 yards. So shout out to Strasbourg. They have done an absolute madness to get a point against Lyon, to hold a team that's been pretty much invincible, has been very much invincible in the Arkema, to a draw, another draw this year. And I think it doesn't really make this title race any more exciting, but just shows that they are gettable.
Well, I think that if anything, it just shows how the second team of Lyon are the second team of Lyon. Like, this is not the starting team. I mean, we've seen this before by Lyon and they have gotten the results. Strasbourg's a little bit different. They're not, your Montpelliers or your Lons. They're not at the bottom of the table. They're solidly mid-table, around the
but
same.
But also put some respect on the Arkema. They're youngsters.
Yeah.
Like, do we see Aston Villa now giving Chelsea a go? Sure, it's not really a farmers league, but we're now seeing the Arkema win points off Lyon, which is what we want to see.
Well, and also more so the fact that, I mean, you're looking at ballers who have done it basically everywhere, whether it be internationally or in the Champions League or wherever, and then they didn't do it this game. Look, if I were Arsenal, I am Arsenal. I've decided.
I thought
I
you were
would.
the Arsenal.
I'm the Arsenal.
Yeah.
If I was the Arsenal, I would be looking at this game because I think that it's a perfect litmus test for what could be a really defensively solid performance by Arsenal, but also furthermore like an attacking performance. Like these goals were not like individual brilliance that no one could ever replicate ever. Like we have more than
The long
yeah,
balls to Stina.
yeah.
Stina heads it over, Liv Smith out the back. That's a goal, easy. And then your set pieces are solid. So whoever's on your
No, they're
set
not.
pieces,
No, they're not.
no,
They are
not from
not.
corners, not from corners, but from free kicks. You have done it. You have scored a few this season, to my knowledge.
I'm gonna say no. Just gonna say
Really?
no. No, because we have been
Interesting.
horrendous. We have been horrendous on our set pieces. It's one of our greatest weaknesses. And if anything,
Didn't
Leon
you
have
just
been
score this week from a set piece?
that is did we? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think so.
the North London derby. You did. The first goal was a corner. The first goal,
Okay, yeah, sure.
the
The first goal
Alessia,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
against Spurs. Okay, sure,
Yes, it's
yeah.
very different. I agree. It is
But like,
very
if
different.
anything, like we need to learn how to defend corners from
Yeah,
Leon because they
that's
and
true.
also long shots from Lee Johannes. As much as we can nullify Lauren James, Lee Johannes in this game proved obviously to be the points grabber. But she's obviously a player that I don't know what it is about her, but she can change games. She can. I mean, I do know what it is about her. She's just a baller. Like she
She's an
just is.
aura. She's
Yeah.
aura farming. Plus, she's actually good. It's annoying because if she wasn't good, we could like meme her into like a Corbin trader and just be like, "Oh, she's good," but she's like not that good. But like, she is the future. She
Yeah.
is the Yank future. She is Leon's future. She is Kang's future. I think she will own Kang Enterprises when Kang obviously doesn't die, but becomes like
Of
a
course. Yeah.
glass head, like in Futurama, and sits in our podcast wall, yapping
Nice.
away, doing what would Kang do for herself. I stop speaking for Kang, and Kang starts doing it for herself, which is more exciting. But we have to talk about PSG, who beat Nantes in a big
Big game.
tie. This was at the time. This was second v fourth. Obviously, the table has changed because of this game, but PSG beat Nantes in the Stadio de la Bourgeois, which was huge, rocking, massive, biggest game of the season for Nantes. There was some crazy moments in this game. Lukta was testing them early. Elimbi's shot was perfect into Nelly Rodriguez's hand. I love when players just shoot at people's hands and ask for a penalty and it works. But Lukta's penalty was fantastic as she nets her 16th goal of the season. She's pretty much guaranteed two hands on that award for her as the top goal scorer.
Yeah.
The second PSG goal came in the 49th minute with Echegini, who switched it to by far the best player on the park. It is the other French Lauren James, in my opinion, in Karchaoui. Not in the sense of the
Whoa.
right, not in the sense of the right side, but when she's on the right and she's prime. This is what Lauren James aspires to be. This is this level of form. Like, it is ridiculous how good Karchaoui is with her left foot. And she's not just a left back anymore. She can
No.
play in the middle. She can play in the eight. In this game, she was on the right wing. She cuts in on the left. She hits it left foot, opens up her foot like she's bloody, I don't know, Caro, Lauren James prime, the Lauren James that England thinks Lauren James is.
Remind
And
me
it
of
just
Beth
goes top
Mead
ends.
2022.
Yeah, 22 Mead. Like, there's just go through all Senna Gorsevic, like go through all the wingers of yonder, right? Like, this is an amazing player who needs to definitely get out of there. But PSG's chance creation was mental. 30 shots, 10 on target to 19 shots, 10 on target. But sadly, that Nantes kind of let Mary Earps get in a bit of a groove. Yes, they did score a crot consolation. Zoe Van der Ven scored a consolation in the 94th minute, and it was just a bit too late. Like, you can't just put one late and try and get something out of it. But Mary Earps did make a few good saves, so shout out to her. And it's now put PSG 1 point behind Paris FC, but in third place now. Nantes are in fourth, but Paris FC are now in second after beating Fleury to hold on to that second place, with Matteo scoring in the second minute from a Lamogudef back to goal over her head, lobbed through ball. It's the most phase optic cod long trick shot pass I've ever seen, and then Matteo skilling him. It's like I'm watching the French favelas on style. But shout out to Ngok from Flory, who hits this long shot from about 40 yards. It's another Montpellier goal.
Yeah.
That catches out Chavas for the tied score, but it was the 92nd minute where Ocean Picard off the bench hits the ball. I mean, it was hits the ball into Ngok's hand, the girl who did score the halfway shot, into her hand, and Lorena Azaro scores the penalty in the 92nd minute to secure the much-needed 3 points to hold on to second place. Is it Paris FC? Is it PSG? Who knows? I'm kind of hoping it's Paris FC, but I think it doesn't matter because both of them will end up in Champions League anyway. Yeah. That's the reality. They're both good enough to play Champions League. Are they good enough to do things in Champions League? No. Are they good enough to retain their players that are better than them? Maybe, we'll find out. But I think Mary Earps, I don't know how long she'll be in France for. I really hope Karchaoui is no longer at PSG at the end of the season.
For her own sake.
For her own sake. And I hope Clara Matteo is definitely looked at by other clubs. And I hope I just see a little soccer Donna rumour of Clara Matteo getting the respect she deserves, because she is a serious machine.
Well, then this season has been awesome in Ligue 1. I think it's the best season for us to be doing a podcast on Ligue 1 because it's been genuinely competitive. I mean, from fourth to second, it's 3 points. It's awesome. But
it's not a duopoly no more.
No, but more so, it's also showing you how any other league football, Champions League football, wherever, it's actually indicative of the football that you're going to play throughout the season. PSG did not play well, obviously, in the Champions League. They're not necessarily playing well in the league either. They're just getting these points and they're getting these wins because they have better players. And I think that's where the Ligue 1 is the difference maker. It's not necessarily about pedigree, unless you're Lyon. It's about your class of player, game-changing players. I think you mentioned some good players. I think Lukta has to go. I really think if she actually wants to increase her level, I mean, this is a player that has to be doing it for the Dutch. She has to be their number 9 because who else is going to do it? Bernstein? She's hot and cold. Viv. Well, Viv is better in the 10 anyway, as proven.
True.
So, this is...
But then where does Jill go? And then Jill goes to the 8, but then where does Egarola go?
Yeah.
This is the problem with the Dutch, is that the system that they have, and Velrink hasn't really set up a way in which you get the best out of their players. Bjornstein, where does she go? There's all these random players that need spaces, and Kasparai, and Esme, and, it's fantastic players, it's just not cohesive. And it is... I mean, look, Norway kind of suffers from it. I think Netherlands suffered from it more because on paper, I think Netherlands are better than them and should be better than them. And you know what? If Serena was in charge of the Netherlands, we know what happens when they are better than them. So it's not even that question anymore. But I think, Lukta is a machine. And I think, in my head, I'm leaning towards Italy. I think she's...
No, that's such a lateral move. We've mentioned Aston Villa enough in this podcast. Shift it to Villa. You should go play in a Brighton.
There's no way she'd go to Villa. She just, she wouldn't want to leave Europe. She'd want to play European ball. What?
This is Europe.
No, leave European competitions. European competitions.
Okay, so she doesn't want to leave the Champions League or the Europa League. Fine. Okay, but it's not like she was getting much out of the Champions League this season anyway, let alone any season.
I mean, she's probably making more money. But,
sorry. Yeah,
again, I mean, players do care about that, but also players do care about playing in Europe because that's where you make your mark. All it takes is Lukta to get one hat-trick for in a game, in a Champions League game, to arrive at a point where people start commanding the respect that she actually kind of deserves now. And I think she has commanded that respect in the Arkema, and French players and French football fans know about her. But I think if she goes to Italy or she goes to Germany and she scores 15 or 20 goals in a season over there, then you start looking at her a different way. It's not just a French merchant. She goes to a different club. Let's say she goes to not Juve, but Roma or Inter and plays alongside Tessa. If she goes to VFL and replaces the pop of it all, I think that's where she needs to be. You know what? I think you're right with VFL. I think VFL is the one that she should go to because Janu Levels is Dutch and Bernstein is Dutch, and Lukta can be that aggressor in there, and I think it'd be very, very entertaining to see her in that ugly lime green kit that we see way too much of, that it blinds my eyes. No wonder they lost the home leg, Leon. But that is all we have for the Arkema as we move into Leggy's NWSL watch.
Okay, this is the first time and the last time I'm doing that little sound.
Yeah, what was I was like, have we added a new
No,
aura farm to
no,
it?
no, it's definitely not what's happening here.
All right.
This is the third round. Some teams have played 4 games, some teams have played 3, but it is technically the fourth
Wow,
slash
they're
fifth.
copying the dub. How dare
Yeah,
they?
I know. It's actually horrendous.
Dog.
It's so ugly.
Yeah.
Because the ladder just is not. It's kind of like the dub. It just isn't representative of the teams. But technically, this is a ladder shaping round. I think that from the third round onwards, it's ladder shaping. I got 5 games to look at. The first one being Angel City. This one's very simple. Angel City are just the best team in America right now. They're the best
Right
team.
now, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they've built themselves up to be that. I think we've mentioned it before. This is a team that has obviously put so much investment in their side. The likes of Nwsl, who had a game against Houston, deserves and should be in that, high echelon of top NWSL strikers.
Yeah.
The only thing about this game that really upset me was Nwsl's celebration. I honestly think that any player over 5'10" should not be jumping. Just don't do any action that makes me want to boke. Like I don't want to be
so
watching
fun.
her. She's running towards the crowd and she fully nearly does her knee. I don't want to see that. That's not fun. I don't want to see it. Anyway, we move on because
Yes.
they won and it's fantastic. Good for Angel City. Boston, they still have no legacy. There's no legacy.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I told you last week that I was gonna watch this game.
Yes.
This is the 2 worst teams in the NWSL by the ladder standards. I don't know if they're necessarily the worst. I'm still waiting for the Denver Summit, the expansion derby, which will be hilarious. But look, there was some interesting moments. I feel like the Arista, there could have been a Dogzo red on the Utah defender. I forgot her name, but Arista definitely got pulled down. But they just didn't take their chances. Boston. I mean, they will develop legacy, but just not yet. And I just think there is just a lot to be desired from them. I don't know. I think there was just a great goal from Utah for the set piece.
Yeah.
It was this weird chaos run that it's something out of I don't know, something out of a FIFA exploit, the way they scored this goal. They just hit every single angle perfectly for this goal. And then the Selly was so NWSL is ridiculous. She literally she did a full Adebayor, ran nearly the full length of the pitch. Why are the interchange benches on the other side, on the camera side of the goal? That is shambles, by the way. I should never have to see someone run to a bench that I can actually see. But look, did I think Boston could get a sniff out of this game? Yeah, kind of. I actually think they probably deserved a bit more. I just think their shot selection was a bit poor. If you look at them, I think they only had 3 shots inside the box. But the goal was taken well. I mean, they ended up with a penalty in the 50th minute, Utah, and that was good enough. But the reality was that they were probably always going to lose this game, and it was a very good penalty, and it was just not enough from Boston. And I'm disappointed in watching what I thought would be a big moment of legacy and is now everlasting detrimental impact. They should be called Boston Impact, where it's very low sense. But their goal was taken well. And shout out to, who was it? I believe it was Traore, right?
Yeah,
Traore was up front.
Yeah, she got the goal. I mean, before basically the last 24 hours, it was going to be the first game week where there wasn't going to be a red card. However, Alice Stevens's absolute punch / open hand slap on the neck of
Slay.
one
Love
of the
that.
Utah players got upgraded to a red card. So 3 game weeks, all a red card in each.
Crazy.
Love it. I love the NWSL.
Brilliant.
Denver and Washington, 2 of the more fiscally questionable teams in the league.
You mean the two of the 3 richest clubs in the world?
Yeah, basically. I saw their collective annoyance cancel each other out in a 0-0 draw. But no one wants to hear about this because this was a really boring game. Everyone wants to know about the Sam Kerr move to Denver. I mean,
Sam it.
Yeah, okay. This is a bit of peek behind the curtains because we have Channel 10 here, and the way that they announced this, it's basically like they announced it on your news at home, wherever, right? But Tara Rushton announced this, and then hours later Sam Kerr went on to her socials on Snapchat and was like, guys, it's not true, don't hear everything
funny
that you read. And I was like, it's really funny because for a news story to break in Australia about an international football, it doesn't have to be Australia. Like, it has to be Sam Kerr in this sense. But it's just funny that they broke the news like they're the source. It's just hilarious. Like Channel 10 has the source. Like
Unreal.
hilarious.
It's like the Vine interview. They just know what's up. They know, they get exclusives, Leggy. You don't
Yeah.
understand. It's so good. But I don't know. I feel like Denver are getting Lindsay Heaps, correct, at the
Yes.
end of this season.
That
So
is not
look,
that is not just a rumor. No.
yeah, that's not a rumor, right? So Denver will be better. They will be better. And they're actually not terrible to start with, which has
No.
actually been
Yeah.
quite impressive. So, look, Sam Kerr does reminisce of all the other 30-year-old plus players who come to, quote-unquote, save an NWSL club. So it would be more than, like, legible for Sam to move back, especially with a partner who is American, who want to live in America. Look, do I think they would have got more out of the Spirit game? Probably not. I don't think Sam Kerr changes that. I think Lindsay Heaps probably changes that result, maybe, but I don't know if Sam does because the service in this game wasn't particularly great. But is there any other game you wanna give focus to, like the big game?
I mean, I think that the biggest game that was very disappointing was Orlando and Gotham. That was nil
Yeah,
all.
that's the
Just
aura.
like
That's the game. That was the game of the round that did not deliver on all fronts of what a game should be. Ridiculousness.
I think that if we've been having like some long-term listeners will know I hate an NWSL draw more than a normal draw. I can handle a normal draw. An NWSL draw though is particularly bad because you know that the teams are not playing well. And you can sense an NWSL draw early, so just save yourself the trouble and just stop watching the game immediately. But basically an NWSL draw happens when these American teams who usually don't have any midfield decide to play with a midfield. So the game is just stuck in the middle of the park, crappy shots. I mean, the best of both teams, the best players of both teams were completely off. Gotham
Yeah.
had a horrible game, but I think Orlando have just had a horrible season so far. So I think honestly, Gotham just dropped to Orlando's level.
You know it's bad when Leggy messages you and says, "I'm watching Lavelle and Marta, and I'm bored, and
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
true.
I'm annoyed." Like that's cruel. Like AKB getting man of the match, but she's not even she's copped like 2 shots on
Yeah.
target. It's not even like she's had like an AKB-esque performance. It's just you've got to give it to someone. You might as well give it to a keeper in a nil-all draw.
But the other game, which was incredibly interesting, which I think was probably the game of the round, given the fact that both teams are going for something, I think based on one on pedigree and one on just the class of this year, was KC and Portland. And Portland have had an incredible start to the season. They got a 2-0 win over KC, who are struggling. They are really struggling. And KC haven't lost to Portland Thorns in their last 5 meetings. And to be honest,
Wow.
it wasn't necessarily KC losing this game and more Portland winning. They outplayed KC in every way possible, but it was more the fact that they outplayed them in attack. Now, this is a team now with Sophia Wilson, but I'm not actually necessarily thinking that Sophia Wilson is the star of this
No,
Portland
she's
side.
not.
No.
It's the mulch.
No, it is the mulch. Moultrie is insane. I have to give a shout out to Rylan Turner. She is a baller. She's been doing it for a while. I've had my doubts about her. Last season was not her best season, and I think that she was one of those players who suffered under a Portland team that was really poor in attack when they needed to be. But this season they've been incredibly clinical. I used to love watching Portland Thorns as a kid. I used to love tuning into their games. I kind of hoped that this would be an inevitability, even if I don't go for them. I kind of hoped that they would re-emerge at that late 2010s, like specifically 2017 era of Portland Thorns. I kind of hoped that would be back with the regaining of Sophia Wilson, and I think it has been. I think that they and Angel City will likely pose as the biggest threats, the duopoly of this.
I have to ask, this left back for Portland Thorns, Vignola, is she related to Ornella Vignola?
I don't
Because
know.
they look identical. Like, I don't know, unless
No, they're not
FOTMOB has done a
they're not
madness
related.
and FOTMOB has used Ornella Vignola's face for this Vignola.
No.
But I don't, like, surely Vignola, it's not the same player. It's not the same people. Like,
not.
like absolutely not. But Moultrie is the real deal. Moultrie's been the real deal since she was like 15 and all those clips were coming out about her. So it's good to see her live up to the expectations of what she was expected to be. But, I mean, also we have to mention the fact that the crowds were popping this week in the NWSL. That Denver Summit game, that was their first home game. What was it, 60,000 people or something like that at the stadium? That's insane. That's an insane amount of people to watch a 0-0. Like, my God. But no, Portland are... I did say last year that, like, Wave and Portland were like... I don't know. Well, Portland obviously had Sophia Wilson on the maternity list, so she was always going to come back. But I did say that they were strikers away. I'm not worried about KC. Judge KC when Temwa comes back. Yeah, like that's when I really will say, okay, they can't do it. But I think Sentnor, Dabinia, they are just like together aren't enough together, and they just do need that. Like, they are getting the attention that Temwa would get. So usually Sentnor can't do it on her own. She actually reminds me a bit of like Aggie Beaver Jones in a lot of ways for the US women's national team, where she is clearly talented and clearly amazing and can do amazing things, but there is a little bit of luxury in her. Like, she can't just do it all on her own. So I am hoping that Temwa can put some pressure off. I mean, I assume Michelle Cooper goes to the bench. I think Dabinia gets more space. I don't know if Croy Buffoon was the best signing from Washington Spirit, but we will find out, because she usually turns up in the later stages of the season. But I am excited. I'm so excited for Temwa to come back. She is the best player in the league, in my opinion, and I think she's proved it over the last 2 seasons. So when they come back, it will be time for KC to drop the hammer and show everyone who's boss.
Just in like a little side note, Jarelli's now got 2 GA this season, 2 assists. She got an assist this week when they beat North Carolina Courage. I think that she has accustomed herself well to this league. I think that striker position, though, is a little bit empty for BFC. Like, I don't know if you've watched any Bay games, but they are incredibly midfield. Fair enough. It's actually the only team I say do not watch a game of this, because they're usually quite boring. But they are very midfield heavy. A lot of their goals are coming from the midfield. Usually that's a good thing. But as I mentioned earlier, the NWSL does not like to play midfield football. So Jarelli is basically like the conduit between the midfield, which is scoring all the goals, and just like holding up 2 centre backs.
Claire Hutton's pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, Claire Hutton was always going to be like the player, especially moving into that like 6/8 role she's holding now. I love it. I think that she's a baller. I think that this will get her into the US women's national team, starting either for the World Cup or just moving forward post heaps.
Yeah, seems like Matsukubo as well. Again, I didn't watch this game, but I can see she's on the score sheet. But, that's post-Asia Cup. She's still bringing her form into it. But, I mean, look, I will watch BFC when we're watching the NWSL Cup. And I know that I'm calling it now, BFC win the NWSL Cup, because Girelli is allergic.
No. Cup?
No. Don't they do like they do
have
like
a cup?
And they do like a mid-season-y thing, right? It's like that. I think Girelli eats that cup alive and scores like 4 goals in the running to it, because that's what Girelli does. She just gets to finals no matter way, no matter how, no matter why. And I'm so excited. And also, you know who's also a cup baller in here? Their centre half, Aldana Conmetti, the captain of Argentina. That's the kind of attitude you need in the back line for a competition, a cup tie. And I think they'll be miserly. I think BFC aren't a bad side, and I think there's a reason they're 2-1 right now, and I think they will be looking for playoffs.
No Vine time for NC Courage, which is really the only reason I want.
Yeah, I know. I mean, are you just waiting for Courtney? That's so cool.
I'm waiting for her to come back to Sydney FC.
That is. I mean, wait for the next 10 exclusive for that. But is that all we have?
That's it. If you want to know the rest of it, watch it online. Go on YouTube.
Yeah, damn straight. We cover what we can cover. We cover the NWSL, so you don't have to. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Leggy's NWSL watch. As we move to the Southern Hemisphere, the dub. My team did not play, which, I mean, I don't know how that's not possible. We missed so many games at the start of the season. We should be still doing catch-up games for the games we did.
You didn't play, and yet you won the premiership.
We so won. We won everything about this week. I sat back, relaxed, and watched the worst game of Melbourne victories. I'm going to say probably history,
That's just
honestly.
not true. That's
I
not
know it's
true.
probably not, but I'm going from an institutional pod
Fair
standpoint.
enough.
We're
Fair enough.
30 episodes in. I'm closer to 30. You're spiritually closer to 80 after this performance. Jesus Christ. Holy moly. Sydney FC versus Melbourne victory. The what do we call it? Is this the original derby?
Yeah, it is. It is. No,
yeah.
it's the big blue.
The big blue. The big blue. Yeah, the big depression blue. The
Yeah,
big
true.
beyond blue for Melbourne victory right there. My God, this game. I'm going to say record amount of nibbles in the WhatsApp chat between me and Leggy after this performance. A ridiculous game. Not too sure what to think. Not too sure what to
I have
feel.
a lot of thoughts.
Other than elation for me and depression for Allegra. But I mean, I just have to hear it. You take the wheel here. It is your game. I mean, you just let me know what you think. And an away loss to the worst team on the table.
An away loss to the worst team on the table is exactly how I would have phrased it, because that's exactly what it was. It wasn't a scrappy 1-0. It was a 3-1 loss. And I think that, it was a 2-1.
Yeah,
it was
2-1.
a 2-1 loss.
Yeah.
We got 2 goals conceded against us. Rachel Lowe's, shot from outside the box, which was deflected in, is not going to suffice against any team in
Rachel Lowe harness.
Yeah, really. No, it's actually like
Yeah.
Rachel Lowe shit. No.
Rachel Low tier god. But how does it feel that Panama's goat dunked on you?
You know what though? Like, to be honest, I've been a fan of her. So
Yeah.
I really, really, really liked her when she played against Australia, because she was balling out, and like Panama inevitably beat Australia in their pre-Asia Cup friendlies. But in all honesty, this was a game of mentality. Sydney just had more to win, and we had more to lose. Because now we're out of the 6, but potentially not going to make finals. This is devastating for Victory, who are finals like merchants.
Well,
like,
not yet. I know Brisbane and Central Coast have to play, and if they draw, then you are actually in 6th. You're on the fringes, which is where I expect you to be. To be honest,
And in all honesty, it's where we deserve to be. Like, if we can't beat Sydney, then we deserve not to be in the finals. More of a like a literal ladder standpoint. Like, they have been terrible. We should be beating the team that is last. But also more of them, like, as I said before, a mentality standpoint. Like, there is no world in which Melbourne Victory don't view the Sydney game as one of, if not the biggest games in the calendar that you should be rocking up to. We undermined Sydney. I think Sydney have not been a good team. They're not technically good. They just outplayed us in key areas. We were incredibly poor in front of goal. Defensively, I think it's been one of our worst games, despite me saying a few weeks ago now that I think that Victory's game plan moving into the finals will be defend first, attack later. This was like defend last, attack last, because we'd be terrible at all of them. We have no midfield. Rianne Polisena had a poor game by her standards. I don't know, we looked very tired, and I think that knowing that we were in the top 6, we had slipped down a couple spots, we just became complacent. And I think, as I said earlier, Sydney had more to win, bragging rights in this case, and we weren't able to match them.
Yeah, 100%. The reason I say you're 5th now is actually because of the games that just happened right now. That's why you beat Perth Glory.
Yeah, fantastic.
With awesome. Bunge is scoring your goals to save your games.
I love Bunge. There you go.
Yeah, slay. Dogzo Bunge is scoring the winners for you with Janchevsky, which I can only assume is a corner, right? Because Janchevsky takes your...
I'm going to predict, because I haven't seen the game, obviously. It's a corner. Yeah. Or it's like it's a passed out, like a long shot that's been deflected. That's what I'm thinking.
But I mean, look, even if we don't watch the game, that just sounds correct. So we're just going to say that that's what happened. Yeah. But ultimately, we had some interesting games around the grounds for the dub, because the dub is the most balanced league in the world, where the bottom 3 sides can all cop victories in the same week. What the hell? I don't understand this. Why are Western Sydney Wanderers beating the Phoenix? Why is Newcastle Jets packing in Adelaide away from home, the team that we talked so much trash about you talked so much trash about them last week, and then they decided to pull out a 3-1 win like they're playing against Melbourne City in Melbourne. They play better outside of Newcastle than they do in Newcastle. It's ridiculous, but that's the dub. The dub is here for this moment, these moments that are insane. Like, I'm so happy now. Like, I'm watching the chaos ensue. My team gets better every minute we don't play. It's mental. Canberra drew to Central Coast without Rasmussen. Like, I'm watching the most ridiculous
and with Michelle
things.
Heyman.
It's mental. But I mean, I had to shout out Kelly Brown and Josie Allen, because Kelly Brown was the brace for the Jets win against Adelaide to knock them down to fourth. They were in second form side, and now Adelaide have just lost again at home to Wellington Phoenix tonight, where Vandermeer and Brooke Nunn, a goal and an assist. Brooke Nunn, who is very much perfect for this league, as we said last week. 33 years old, chefing up everyone from the right. Pia Vlock sent off at the hour mark. I'll have to watch that again, because ultimately I think Vlock should be playing 100 minutes in a 90-minute game. That's how good she is. But ultimately, this is a crazy ramifications for Adelaide, who have gone from the form side to 3 losses in a row. Wow. So currently the form side in the league is either Brisbane, who have 2 wins, or us, who have 3 wins out of 5 but no losses. So we're like the most inconsistent between a win and a draw. Yeah. But we're a game behind and 3 points ahead, which is a perfect stead to be in. Shout out to Canberra, Wellington, and Adelaide, who really can't win 3 games in a row if they tried. But it is absolutely delicious. It's the only league that knows how to. The NWSL wishes. It is the dub. I don't know. Is there anyone else you want to shout out?
No, not really. Anyone for you?
I think just the Western Sydney Wanderers game against Phoenix. I mean, the fact that second just beat 10th, like 10th beat second, and Kang is a legend. Yuan Kang, who was at the Asia Cup, didn't really get as many minutes, comes back, absolutely delivers. Shout out to Shamiran Karmas, who made, I don't know how many saves against Wellington in Wellington. I believe it was
the better
6.
Karmas sister, if I say so myself.
I mean, you can say so yourself. You're all good to say so yourself. But also, like, they just were more clinical. 18 shots with 1.63 XG to cop that amount and save it all, and then have 8 shots, 2 on target with a 0.49. You do the business. Shout out to Western Sydney. Yeah, Kang, like, it was a good offside trap, lobbed the ball over the keeper, right? It was a great first-time volley. It was just ridiculous. I don't know how to describe this league other than rolling the dice. It is just kind of like Dungeons and Dragons for soccer. Like, you roll the dice and decide who wins then and there. It is like sport by definition, unknown outcome. Champions League, you know what's going to happen. You kind of just know this sport is real sport, because it is an unknown outcome to the extent where there is a salary cap. There are just a level of opposition that isn't like extensively better than the others. Even we cop stupid losses and stupid draws because we're not even that much better than the rest, because that's what makes the dub, and the dub is the greatest league on the planet. But that is all we have for domestic club ball as we move into the Benchwarmers Awards. Never bench again. I'm going to start us off this time. I am going with a little bit of what do you call it? A declaration. It's Tessa Vullert for not being available. So it's Inter are getting the never bench again for benching. If she's actually injured or something bad has happened to her.
Like a baby or something. I don't know.
Let's say she had something happen to her. Someone died. Someone born. Whatever. Then I'm saying it's DVD. It's DVD. Okay, sure. And DVD is the never bench again. I know everyone keeps saying Annika Borba, and I know people are saying DVD's the starter. I'm just making sure, yes, she can be a Van Damsel in distress, but she is the better keeper, and she is the number one. She's the one with the experience. She's the European champion, and she's going to be stopping in the 2 legs against Leon.
That'd be so funny if Tessa had a family, her dad died or something. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I've said if something bad happens, just kind of like just say like family, just say like conflict, internal
say
matter.
it to you personally.
There just has to be a club statement that says Tessa Vallert is out due to unforeseen circumstance. That's it. There wasn't even that. It just said she was out. What is it? She's out. Congratulations. Fantastic. I love Tessa Vallert. She's one of my favorite players anyway. Just tell me why she's not playing. And all you have to say is unforeseen circumstances.
Sure.
That's all you have to say. But I'm giving it to DVD. Who is your NBA?
Hegerberg, I think, because mostly that Eula Brand should never be starting fully on. Honestly, I think starting Eula Brand is like a humiliation ritual because she is not doing well fully on. And
she's not a 9. She's not a 9 either.
But moreover, it's kind of like they're proving the point that she's not good. Like, it's like, we're going to play you just to show that you're shit. Like, that's not how you give confidence to a player, no matter the team that you're playing
But she's never had confidence at club level ever. So, like, I'm not blaming Leon. I guess you are blaming Ada for being old, which I love, to be fair. That's pretty slay for you.
Ada, I don't understand.
Never bench again. The girl who's 32 years old has played pretty much every game for Leon since Eula Brunt was born.
Yeah.
And when you're still saying she's been taken off like a few times this season because they're 20 points ahead in the league and you're like, nah, she has to play.
No, but I mean, okay, so at this point, really, Hegerberg should be playing these games. Like, you'd hope that they'd have a better striker because, like, she should be the one that's,
Where's Katoto? Why can't Katoto play 90 minutes?
She played this game. They drew anyway. Like,
yeah, exactly. But why can't Katoto start up front?
She did, didn't she? I think Eula Brown played on the right.
No, but they were switching. They were playing 2 up front at different points. It was a weird game for them. But I just think it's a disaster class. I think Ada shouldn't need to play. I feel bad for her. She's played so many minutes. But my super sub, I think we've both gone the same route, just different leagues. We've gone for 2 people that were responsible for winning their team's respective important games. I went for Ocean Picard and Lorena Azaro for winning the pen and scoring the pen in the Arkema for Paris FC against Fleury to hold second place.
I went for the double sub of Mia Ascenso and Margarita Jimenez because, I mean, if you're playing Sociedad and you're Logrono and you have a super sub like this, I think Ascenso just shoved the
that was a crazy moment. She bodies the right back. It was insane. That was an amazing move. Yeah, Arturo Ruiz is gonna have nightmares about Mia Asenio. That moment, that's the kind of moment that gets you scouted as well. Like people just go body work, like crazy moment.
The Jimenez little chip over
the top,
beautiful,
ping.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but it's an amazing moment. My come on the pod is Pau Casada and Mark Skinner together. I want a double fraud pod, and maybe do a holy trinity with your come on the pod. Do you want to say who you've got?
Yeah, Sonia Bonpastor. I think it's pretty obvious. I think given my background, it's pretty obvious. I don't want to call out. I don't want to call out the post match because we talked about it earlier. I just want to get your facts straight on VAR. Like, do you either want VAR like you did this game?
I don't.
Or do you not want VAR? No, not you. I know you hate VAR. I know you hate VAR.
My name is Sonia Ben Pastor, and I don't want VAR.
In the first game, she was complaining the whole time. She's like, "Is VAR even going to work? If we have it, why is it going to work?" And then this game, she was like, "We need VAR. Why isn't VAR working? We need it to work." Oh my god! Like, really?
I am here to say that we, the Benchwarmers, will bring on the Brady Bunch of Pau Casada, Mark Skinner, and Bon Pastor, the Real Madrid, United, and Chelsea managers to come on and talk about how off their teams have been for the last 3 weeks. It is absolutely delicious and fun for City and Arsenal fans who share a shared love of Viv, who murders all of these sides, to be honest. But that is all we have for the Bench Warmers Awards as we move into the last segment of the show, the What Would Kang Do number 30. Number 30 is a multiple of 5. You know the deal. It means I'm singing / rapping /
Third
doing
time
something.
This podcast.
Yeah, this is all. I mean,
should be paying for this.
What is it? What do you mean 3? I've only
3
done
times.
2. I've only done 1.
Well, I count the poem as technically.
No, that's just aura farming. That's just TikTok farming. But this is actual singing. So we have made a song. I asked Allegra. I asked Allegra what song she actually knows and has heard before. So she gave me the song. The song is Little Simz's Gorilla.
Like, it's no ball. Like,
So it is now been
ball.
redone. It's been redubbed by Michelle Kang. It is now called Kang Gorilla by Little Kangs. But you know the horn lines, you know the moment. It's an amazing beat. We'll let it go, and you'll get the flow, you'll get everything, you'll get Ben rapping, which is always a sight to behold.
Really.
Yeah, it's a rapper's delight. I'm your rapper's favorite rapper. But we'll give it a go. We'll see how we go as we let it out to one of my favorite rappers of all time. So we'll give it a go in 3, 2, 1, go. You ready? Michelle Kang is chicken dinner. See what I did there? She's the winner. Big time dealer. Invest for Mo Millers. Who's this woman that acts as the mint printer? Buy 3 clubs and make them all bigger. Name one time where she didn't deliver. Prominent figure. Leon on the ends had to win the second legs. She had Weir on the speed dial. Johnny made amends in the semi-final versus the Gunners. Yeah, we back again. Gotta stop Kim Little from slapping us up again. Ooh, operating losses couldn't break us. Trust my London City if you respect how we came up. Money. Trying to get to the paper. Yeah, editor Maestra might do me a favor. True. Big Kanger. Investing big M's on her kids. She's enamored. Freya Godfrey Banger. I'm a different species. Trying to run soccer. Trinity's back. Please. Rodman on form. Yeah, you can guarantee fees. I ain't got one threat to consider. Spent about $1 million on a team Nick Claudinia. Rest in peace to Aslani. New research to fix all of Arnie's. What's next? Fly from France to Washington and then back to the ends. Staying back my job, yes, girls. When the game's against me, I'm press resistant. I am the investor. Welcome to the jungle, I'm the Lion King. Cut Jocelyn out, now my club's thriving. Big pharma sector, now club investor to Woso protector. What is next? I'm a baker, make bread, feed the kids for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Enough said now. There we go. I'm done.
That was amazing.
I'll see if I got anything wrong. I might do it again. But I think I did all right.
My song rec for you to parody. I'm ball knowledge, man.
She's got. Literally, that is all Lil Simz's assist. Like, it's the easiest song to flow to. It's not fast. You can keep the flow nice and chill. But ultimately, it does just sum up like where her clubs are at now. The semi-final leg for Lyon, ultimately still shilling London City despite Eder Maestra being midstra, and then Trinity Rodman. Look, if her back dies, then Spirit will die with it. They just copped the wrath of Denver Summer. So what do they really know? But that is all we have for What Would Kang Do, and that's all we have for the podcast. That's all we have. That's a 3-hour podcast, baby. That's what we do. That's the end of part 2. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. We do full audio-visual podcasts on YouTube. We do audio on Spotify. We do short form on TikTok. We kill it on TikTok. There is not basically one bit of women's football that we don't cover, and if it isn't covered, then it's probably not worth covering, or it's not branded well enough for us to cover it, because we cover football the way no one else does, and we do it not just every second, not every day, not every minute, not every hour, every week.
Every week?
I think it's actually every week. Thank you all so much for listening. Keep the benches warm and have a great week.